Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us today on this town hall, this virtual town hall that we're having here. My name is Stephen Reed, Mayor of the City of Montgomery. It's awesome to have two great educators with us today to talk about the beginning of this school year and what it means to them and how we're navigating the beginning of the school year, both in the classroom, whether that's virtual or whether that's extracurricular activities, and how that impacts our students. As you can tell, I'm not in the office, and I didn't want my not being there to interrupt what we hope will be a very engaging conversation to have with educational leaders about things that they're dealing with and some of the challenges as well as some of the opportunities that are presenting themselves right now. So the background may not be what you're used to, and the audio may not be quite as crisp as it is, but hopefully we can get through this and address some of the challenges and opportunities that we have in education. I just want to start by talking about some of the progress we've made regarding COVID-19. The community has seen a tremendous cut in our positive rates as well as our case counts. And I want to thank all of you for wearing masks, getting masked up, doing everything you can do social media wise through your personal and professional networks to help us out in Montgomery. It is really making a difference. We are still in the battle. We can't celebrate just yet, but we know that we have made tremendous progress, and we're a little bit closer to not only getting things back to normal, but I think also we're a little bit closer to being able to relax some of those standards that we may have in place. We can't do it yet, but I think we're a little bit closer to getting there. So thank you so much for everyone, and we just want to continue to stay disciplined and vigilant in this pandemic and in our practices that we have. So keep your mask on, keep your social distancing at 6 feet, wash your hands as often as you can, and stay at home as often as you can until we get through this and we get a vaccine out there that everyone can get access to. I also want to make sure that I thank all of you for your feedback regarding our budget process. We were able to submit a budget to the City Council with almost about a 7% reduction, or close to about $17 million. But we did that without having to lay off employees, and we're glad about that. And we were also able to add a little bit to some benefits for some of our city employees, especially our public safety employees, which is a tremendous opportunity. We also have been investing in our parks and recreation, in our community centers. And so you're going to see some improvement there. We announced $500,000 that's going to immediate needs in our long neglected community centers. And we'll also have additional funds, significant funds, that'll be allocated in this budget going towards parks and recreation and some of the programming that we want to do to help out our educational leaders. And so I want to commend everyone for helping us out and giving us feedback that we needed on that. And this is still a work in progress. It has to be voted on by the council in the next 30 days, but I feel pretty good about that, as well as I feel good about the police reform efforts that we'll be submitting regarding a citizens review board to the City Council in the next couple of weeks. And so that will also start some of the conversation that we pledged to have, we pledged to implement in the wake of the George Floyd killings and the protests that followed. So I'm glad that we're able to be at a point where we can present that to our City Council again for their review. And I look forward to some of the community dialogue about the ongoing efforts that we can have there. Finally, before I go to our guests, I do want to touch on some areas of challenge for us, and that is as it relates to our crime in the city of Montgomery. We are trying to reform our police practices, but we have to also make sure that we're reforming some of our community practices. We need people to speak up when they see something, and we need to make sure that we are working very actively to keep guns out of the hands of the wrong people and make sure that people who are up to no good are really feeling uncomfortable, not just by the police, but by the community. We have to have higher standards to address the surge in shootings that we have seen recently. And while that's not just happening here in Montgomery, it cannot be the norm. And we cannot accept that young people or older people, regardless of their age, can't walk in the streets or cannot go to their homes after a hard day's work without having to worry about some of the issues that have been impacting us lately. And so we have to have a profound respect for how we approach one another, how we deal with conflict resolution, and we just have to respect life more. And we have to make sure that we are doing that within ourselves and within our community so that we don't see this city go down the same path as some other cities have. So we need your help. We need your partnership, and we need your cooperation. And we're working on efforts, not just at the local level, but the state and federal level to assist us in creating safer streets and safer neighborhoods. And I've been talking with our police chief, Ernest Finley Jr., about how we go about doing that. And that may make some people uncomfortable when we implement some of these policies, but these are things we have to do in light of recent shootings, in light of recent statistics. We just have to do a better job, and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure the city is safe and that you're safe in your home or in your car or your place of business, and that this is a economically viable city that respects laws and respects really just the lives of everyday people. So we're going to be doing some things here in the next few weeks to address this, but we certainly want your help as well as we roll out some of these initiatives and as we try to address our issues, not just from a police standpoint, but also from a social services and reinvesting in our community standpoint as well, to provide hope and to provide opportunity. So with that said, I want us to get to the guests that we have today, two fantastic educators. And I kept it fair and balanced because I knew if I didn't do this, I would hear from Poet Nation that I was being biased towards my alma mater, the for now Jefferson Davis High School band director is with us, as well as the principal of Lanier High School is with us as well. And so, gentlemen, I want to make sure that we talk about some of the things that you all are seeing as we start school, some of the successes, some of the challenges. I want to make sure we're talking about some of the things that we can do to help you from the community standpoint as well. So I know we have Mr. Brandon Howard, band director at Jefferson Davis.
How y'all doing?
Has gotten a lot of notoriety by going on America's Got Talent, something that I could have never succeeded in doing. I wouldn't have gotten past the opening rounds if I had to do that. So I commend him and certainly Dr. Antonio Williams for his leadership as well. And I will take it over and let them introduce themselves.
All right. Well, I guess I'm first up. How you all doing? Let me first say this. Mary Reed, I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on with you today with your for your virtual town hall meeting. This is phenomenal. We have been watching you and supporting you from afar, and especially here at Jeff Davis High School. The Jeff Davis family loves everything that you have done for us and the community. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I want to reiterate the same thing, Mr. Howard. I just thank the mayor for his leadership, the things he's been doing to move the city in the right direction, a positive direction, and we really appreciate your transparency. We appreciate your accountability and things that you're doing to move the city forward. And thank you for this opportunity as well to come talk about back to school. It's been a lot of fun. It's definitely been different.
Yes.
And so we're happy to have the opportunity to have this platform to share with the community some of the good things, as well as some of the challenges we've been having thus far.
Fantastic. Let me ask this question to you. As we start this school year virtually, how's everybody doing so far, from the students to faculty and staff? And Dr. Williams, I'll start with you and kind of get your thoughts as a principal of one of our high schools here. Kind of how have things been going over these weeks, kind of getting prepared, and kind of where are we right now, and where do you see us going over these next few weeks?
Yes, sir. One of the main emphasis has really been on just trying to relieve the stress level of everyone and the frustration level of everyone, because it is something new and something different. And so I think the teachers, the faculty, the staff has really adjusted well. You can tell that people really went into education for the right reason. That's to make a difference in the lives of young people, because we're asking people to really step outside their comfort zone. We have a lot of teachers that have kids themselves that's school age, and they're having to leave those kids at home each day and come to school and still do their job to fidelity. We have parents who have been asked to now become part-time teachers at home. They're adjusted well. And so one of the main emphasis that we've been trying to do here at Lanier, and I think across the district, is just simplify the process. Try to make things as easy as possible, make instruction at the forefront of what we do, and then just try to make sure we're there to answer any questions, return emails, phone calls, just anything we can do to alleviate frustration level for our parents, our students, and our community, those that we serve, has really been the main point of emphasis.
Very well. Mr. Howard, from a band director standpoint, extracurricular activities are so important to our schools. How are you navigating this environment, and how are the students adjusting to it as well?
Well, actually, I really thought that it was going to be a struggle at first. And I've been blessed with a lot of great students, great parents who have supported us and supported everything that we've done. So they were just waiting on the instructions. As long as we knew what we were doing, they were going to fall in line. And I want to thank, Principal Mullins has done an amazing job getting us prepared for the opening of school. And I think if we were not prepared for the opening of school, us getting ready for extracurricular activities probably would have gone haywire. It would have been a difficult task to take on. But all in all, we have changed the way that we practice, keeping the kids socially distant, making sure they have their mask on when they're outside or when they're around each other, closer than 6 feet. We've purchased some bell covers for the instruments so that, when the kids play, the spit and stuff won't spray around in the area, in the room. And just to make sure everybody is safe, we are going above and beyond to make sure that these measures are being taken care of, so that these kids can still enjoy being a part of the extracurricular that they love and stay safe at the same time.
How many members do you have in the band at Jeff Davis?
As of right now, we're looking at about 68 students. It is down, of course, because of the COVID-19 situation, but it's okay, because I know once we return back to school, most of those other kids and most of those other parents will feel safe bringing the other kids back in, and which, I completely understand. I wasn't looking for it, my entire band to come back this year. I knew it was going to be a struggle. The students that I have are doing an amazing job. They are smaller in numbers than we have been in the past, but we are still just as good. So it really hasn't impacted the band in a negative way. If anything, this has taught us that we can push through adversity and still succeed.
How long have you been band director, and what led you to go down this path as an educator?
Well, I have a lot of educators in my family. So first and foremost, that was the first thing that I really learned as a youngster. I learned that education was one of the things that I was destined to be. It was almost a calling. So, and I've been a band director for 10 years here at Jeff Davis, but 14 years total. And I really feel like teaching the students, and that's why I still love high school. I love teaching high school students, because I can kind of prepare them for that transition going to high school, as well as either moving on to college or whatever it is they're doing in their life in the future. I kind of prepare these students for life, and I like to put my hands on them and teach them as much as I can prior to them leaving out of here.
Thank you. Dr. Williams, let me ask you, from your standpoint, as we deal with the students kind of, again, in this virtual environment, and you having to manage the staff and faculty, have you been surprised at the cooperation? Have you been surprised at some of the positive things that have come out of this experience?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not necessarily surprised, but just pleased with the way that everyone has adjusted. Everyone has remained positive.
Yeah.
Everyone is just going above and beyond the call of duty to make sure that our kids have the very best. I was just speaking to a couple of staff members earlier, our collaborative department. We have a few A's on campus, and The age group may have been a little bit more or less right now with students not being on campus, but they have gone and assigned themselves additional responsibilities to contact every single student that has not logged on to Schoology or Zoom for virtual instruction. They're reaching out. They're trying to see, hey, how can we support you? What do you need from us as a school to make sure that you're taking school serious? We've been telling the kids this not an extended vacation. We need you logged on every single day. Attendance is just as important now as ever before. And so this is not a time to slack off or to relax policies and procedures or expectations. It's a time to make sure we still are doing our very best to provide a quality education to all of our students. So everyone is really, like I say, even our parents, our students, they were emailing me at one point. I was getting maybe 200 emails a day from students and parents at the start of school.
Wow.
But we were trying our best to respond to every single email. Even some of my teachers who may not respond to email as frequently as we wanted to, I saw them responding, and everyone was just trying to give students, because if students were giving effort and making effort to join these on-site virtual instructional classrooms, we wanted to make sure that there weren't any barriers and any limitations. So if they were having issues, because of course technology you're gonna have issues to arise. We wanted to make sure that they knew we were trying to support them any way we could to get onto their devices and to get activated in those Google Classrooms and those other instructional platforms.
How, as you've done those things, how has the support been from parents? How has the support been from even people as partners with the school if you have a PTA, PTSA? How have you seen that support come around? And is there more that we can do from a community standpoint to support you as well as other educators like yourself and the students and teachers?
Yeah, so one of the things, Mayor, I can honestly say, the community support in Montgomery has always been vital to the success of our schools. Even as a product of Montgomery Public Schools, I just honestly to say that we have always had strong community support here in the city of Montgomery. We just need to make sure we continue that. I have had community partners reach out to see how can they provide support. During this time, we've had the Alabama Housing Authority that serves some of our student populations reach out to say, hey, if you got packets or things of that nature that you want to deliver to us, we'll help make copies. We'll make them available to students that stay in some of our housing areas. And so they've been very supportive. Our PTSA is probably one of the most active PTSAs really here in the state of Alabama. They do a phenomenal job in coming to the school and supporting education every single day. And so we couldn't achieve some of the things we achieve here if it wasn't for our PTSA. The governor, I think you all may be aware of this, but she recently led some efforts to get some Wi-Fi connection to homes. The ABC, the Alabama Broadband Connectivity group put out something where students now can get free Wi-Fi or get a voucher for free Wi-Fi from August to December if they don't have Wi-Fi in their homes. We are short a little bit of Chromebooks and other electronic devices for students, and that's something that we're reaching out for support on. The district has done a great job in ordering those devices, but unfortunately, everybody else in America has tried to order those devices as well, so they are on back order. So one of the barriers that we have faced is that all of our students that need devices don't have the adequate access to those devices. So we're still trying to work through some of those issues as well.
I hear you. If there are things that certainly we can help you and assist you in doing in any of those endeavors, please let me know. And we'd be more than happy to support any efforts that you all have, any initiatives that you're currently undergoing to assist you in that effort, because I know every day counts. Even with my sons that are in school, every day is a day that they have to compete. And I realize that happens for a lot of kids that you all are helping and leading, in particular in households where the parents may be working 2 and 3 jobs,
Yes.
often underemployed jobs with not a livable wage right now. So that presents some other challenges when the students are at home because the parents are out trying to work to make ends meet. And I think far too often what happens when we think about education and we think about parenting, we think about parents are not being involved because they don't want to be involved. We don't think about those parents that aren't involved because they don't know how to be involved. They don't have time to be involved because of what they're trying to do. And that's so important, I think, for us to keep in mind some of the challenges that are presented. And that leads me to a very important political issue that I want to bring up so that you don't have to. And that is that the fact that we are looking at a referendum to increase our funding in our public schools that we'll vote on November the 3rd. Awesome. And it's important for our listeners and viewers to understand that Montgomery Public Schools are funded at the state legally mandated minimum right now. We are funded the least of any major city in the state by a long mile, a country mile. And we have a referendum in place to invest in our public schools, to invest in our students, our teachers, our parents, our staff and administrators, so that we can start to begin to right size the amount of revenue that goes into our schools. So many people say, that, money doesn't fix everything. But you ask those people if they would rather have money or not have money, and they'd all rather have money. So yes. It may not fix everything, but it sure does help a whole lot. Yes. And so on November the 3rd, we have to make sure that our community not only goes out to vote for president and vice president, and I hope they'll vote for my president, Joe Biden, and my vice president, Kamala Harris, but more importantly, I want to make sure they go out to vote to support our schools, because those things impact our extracurricular activities. They impact our ability to buy band uniforms and new instruments. They impact our ability for you as a principal to do some of the things that are necessary in our schools with a population that is challenged and that often may not have the means of some other school districts and some other populations. So it's important when we think about $33 million coming into our schools, an additional $33 million a year, and that still won't put us anywhere near the top of the major cities in the state of Alabama, but it'll be a start. Yeah. And I think that with leadership like yours, with the creativity and the stability that you all have brought to the school system, it's important to try to reward that. It's important for us to try to make that a priority so that we can bring about a greater diversity in educational programming, so we can help with support staff and wraparound services, so we can add to all the things that make public education what it is. Because right now, you guys have been doing this on a real strict diet, and it wasn't one that you wanted to go on. It was self-imposed. I mean, it was imposed from outside. So I just want to make sure that the community is aware of that, and is aware of the things that we've been asking leaders like yourself to do, and the students to get by with for so long without having that support. And I certainly, before I go to the questions, I could talk to you guys all day, but I know we have some questions that have come in. I want to ask you all specifically a question that I've heard for years, and has been talked about, and that is the lack of Black men in education. One, I know you all, Ms. Howard, expanded on kind of why you were in education. Dr. Williams, I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on that. But also, how does that play out? Does that provide on you maybe an extra responsibility in your mind because there are so few Black men in education, in particular dealing with kids in an urban district like ours, and maybe some other factors that we may not have to take into account? Mr. Howard, I'll start with you, and then I'll get to Dr. Williams.
Well, I think that it's very valuable. I've actually reached out to the community and pulled in quite a few other guys to come in and join my staff. These guys are positive young men who can relate to the students, can reach out to the students, and they're like big brothers within our organization. As well as myself, of course, I'm kind of like a father figure for the students. I really feel like Black male role models in the classroom, in the schools, are something that we definitely have to have. I'm a product of Montgomery County as well. I went to Lanier, and Dr. Williams, you're doing an amazing job over at Lanier, man. I'm in support 100%. 100%. But we can relate to these students because we were once these students. And if anybody can relate to these students and have that breakthrough moment with the students, it would be one of us. So since we are here in the building with them, why not reach out to them, help guide them? Some of the same experiences that we went through will help them get to the next level in their lives. And I really think our presence is invaluable.
Very well. Dr. Williams.
Yeah, Mayor Reed, you hit a very important topic for me.
Very much so.
A couple years ago, I sought out, man, to get more men into the building because we had majority female staff, and the female educators here do an amazing job providing support for our students. But I said I gotta get some more men in the building just to serve as role models for some of our young Black males that we service. And so I went on my off season. I said, okay, that's my goal. Let's get more men. Most of my interviews I scheduled, and I think I ended up hiring about 14 teachers that year, and about 11 of them were females. And and at the end of the day, it was mostly females because we have to hire the best people that's available as well. Sure. And so we just don't have a lot of men going into education for whatever reasons. And so we have to continue to just do the very best of what we have. As Mr. Howard just stated, a lot of times we become father-like figures for our young people and for our kids. And so we have to try to make sure that we remember that when we're out in the community. We don't ever take off the hat of being a principal. We're always, always have to remember, or a band director or a teacher, we always have to remember we're role models for our students, and they really look up to us for guidance and support. I don't think it's by coincidence that, violence in the city is up right now. I tend to believe that if students were in school with us, we could help prevent some of the issues that we're having in the community now. We can't stop all of it because it's, some of that's going to occur. But I think when students are here with us, they come to us for advice. They come to us for problem solving, for conflict resolution. And we do a lot of those things that help prevent some of the violence from taking place in the city. And so one of the negative things about being completely virtual right now is that students may not have those role models or those individuals, mentors that they can go to and talk to when they're having conflicts or issues that need help resolving. And they're just doing they're solving the very best way they know how. And sometimes it's not the right way, and sometimes it's not the best way. We sometimes just make the assumption students know right from wrong, young people know right from wrong. But a lot of times these students are products of their environment. And that's why it's so important. You talked about the tax increase. It's so important for us to provide quality environments for our students. It's important for us to provide quality service for our students. No money can't solve every problem, but it does help. When you start talking about not having adequate enough social workers in the building, when you start talking about larger class size, when you start talking about outdated textbooks, when you start talking about no funding for the arts, when you start talking about all these things, a roof collapsing on the students, and then you say you want high expectations for those students, or you want high student achievement, you almost sending two different messages to the students. Say you want students to achieve nothing but the best. You can say we love our young people, we love our community, we love the city of Montgomery, we want the city of Montgomery to go to the next level. But then people get quiet, or people tend to fight against the tax increase. And I hear people saying, well, we had some negative findings and audits and things of that nature. But these kids are not worth putting this tax bill off. These kids aren't worth waiting. Both of my kids attend public schools here in Montgomery. My oldest actually go right here to Lanier High School with me. And she deserves better. I can't look at her and say, well, baby, because one or two people made some bad choices, you're gonna have to wait on a quality building. You're gonna have to wait to have quality textbooks. Or you gotta have one-to-one devices in the world where we're trying to increase technology in education. It's not fair to our kids to put off what they deserve because of bad decisions.
Somebody else.
And so I'm glad you brought it up, and I advocate and I preach. We have to support our kids, and we're gonna have to make sure we pass this tax bill increase on November 3rd because our kids deserve it, our young people deserve it. Climate means so much to a successful organization. Everybody that's been in leadership or took any type of organization development classes, they know the importance of culture and climate. And so I really truly believe that this tax increase can not only help with the climate, but help provide us the resources and support we need to make a difference in the lives of young people.
Very well.
Very yes.
That's great. Great statement. Great statement.
Very much so.
Man.
I will stop right there and say let's go to questions. I was about to say the same thing, DeMar. I was about to say let's pass the plate.
All right.
I'm sorry, man. I'm passionate about it, man.
Yeah, very much so. I love it.
Yeah.
And we get cheated a lot here on the West Side, man. So we have to try to have that conversation for our kids, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let me go to a question we have from Jim. Why are the Montgomery schools mandated to be funded so low? That's a great question, Jim. You know, let me just say this. Let me just speak truth to power. I like to be transparent. I was just in a meeting with the state superintendent 2 days ago, and he said that there has been a 50-year effort to undermine public schools in Montgomery. And he said it in a crowd that may not have expected him to say that. And he just pointed out the efforts that have been put in place to undermine the success and the progress of public schools by leaders going back 50 years. So we are mandated by that again, only because state law recently made 10 meals. We were at 8. Now. You look at other communities, whether that be Auburn or that be Pike Road, they are 3 and 4 times, if not, and sometimes more than that, in terms of what they get, their millage rate that goes toward public schools. So we are mandated at that. Many historians of local history would say that was to protect the academies, and that was to protect the independent schools. And that was to support their efforts, and that was a way to make sure that there was a constant flow of people going to private schools, was to really starve the public schools. Whether that is true or not, I will say it was short-sighted vision. I would say it was a way of shooting the community in its foot to only do the bare minimum. And I would say it was small-minded thinking that led us to accept that we should fund our public schools at such a low amount relative to other parts of the state of Alabama, which is not to be confused with other parts of the country when we think about states like Texas, Virginia, California, and New Jersey, and Florida, and others. So we're nowhere near that, but yet again, we expect a Mercedes-Benz education. And we are providing Mercedes-Benz resources and quality of schools and quality of textbooks and things that are needed, supplies that are needed in order to provide that environment for the students. We have great administrators, great teachers, and great students, but we aren't supplementing them with what we need to. And this is a chance for us to start along that path to do just that.
Yes.
What's the next question? All right, Yolanda, what are the plans as far as the community involvement is concerned? I want to ask Mr. Howard, let's talk about you going on America's Got Talent. What led you to do that, and have you seen community engagement maybe pick up since your appearance with the band on that?
It was a lot. I just say a lot. They actually asked us to come in and send a couple videos, and they wanted to see the band. They viewed us. They saw what we were all about. They talked to me, and I explained to them how important it was for us to kind of put my band out there so we can kind of pull in some more support for not only right here in Montgomery, Alabama, but pull in more support for the arts here in Alabama, because we have struggled for quite some time. And after the show, I did receive quite a bit of praise, and a lot of people have sent donations, and a lot of people have started supporting us, not only here in the city, of course, here in the state, and other places. We've received phone calls from as far as South Africa concerning the band, and everybody's excited. The community, of course, has jumped on board. And, locally, we have always gotten quite a bit of love from the people right here around us. But now other parts of the city are really starting to jump on board and pay attention to the other things that's going on in the arts, not just with my program, but the other programs as well.
Dr. Williams, any thoughts on how the community can be more involved in ways that we can get and encourage them to be more involved, not just with Lanier, but maybe other high schools and other areas in our public education system as well?
Yeah, we got some great examples of people that's doing it. Whitney Griswold, Philip Kinsler, and I can name myself. I'm probably gonna get in trouble by starting to name people. Dwayne Perry. We just some of the people out there that's currently doing it. One of the things that's very easy that everybody can do is join the local PTSA of the schools that's in the community in which you live. PTSA dues are usually relatively cheap. Our dues here at Lanier is $5. We are 100%, so we put our money where our mouth is. Every employee here at Lanier High School is a PTSA active member, and it's been that way now for the last 3 or 4 years. We get an award every year with the state with that. And so one of the things you do is join your local PTSA. Another thing is, Mayor, oftentimes people think the only way they can support is by giving money, and that's so not the case. Now, we appreciate funding as well, but in addition to that, mentorship is powerful. Intern opportunities for students. We had an advisory program here at Lanier High School where we were doing experts in residence program, where we were partnering kids with people from the community in areas they may be interested in going to for jobs one day. And so a lot of our kids are talented, but lack exposure or lack mentorship or lack people that they can talk to about how can I get my foot in the door? How can I get the opportunity? What's the next step after high school in order to, to become some successful individual? And so, if you are doing something in the community, such as it can be HVAC, it can be plumbing, it can be something in the business world, something in the financial world, partner with the school so individuals who have interest in going to those areas, we can make those connections and those students can have real world, real life experiences and interactions with people that can help them with their next step in life.
That's outstanding. And I think that's great for our business community to hear as well.
Yes.
Because I know there are a lot of our business owners who want to get involved, who don't know how to help, don't know if they would be welcome to help. And again, one of the things that came up in the meeting I was just referring to a couple of days ago was a program that used to be called Partners in Education, where businesses adopted or partnered with various schools in the community for everything from resources to mentoring programs to even working with teachers and working with parents as well. So those are areas that, to your point, don't cost anything, and those are areas that can really help assist us as we try to grow beyond just the resources and just the funding, but also to the involvement and investment from the community, because that's something that we can all do, is to look at ways to give some of our time as well as those talents to assist in this endeavor, because I think all of that's integral to us being in a better position when we talk in a few months or next year than where we are right now. And we know it's a step-by-step process. It doesn't change overnight, but in order for it to change, we have to start doing some things that we haven't been doing recently.
Hey, Mayor, I want to add one other thing too, and sure. I know it's just not about Lanier, it's about the entire district, but we have a campaign that we're doing now called I Am Lanier, and we're trying to raise awareness just for the condition of our school and some of the areas that we've been neglected on. It's a year-long campaign, so hopefully everyone will get additional information about it. But right now, our band director is participating in the march from Lanier High School to a band shop in Kansas that has agreed to match any funding that we raise to try to raise awareness for the band program and the arts program, not just for Lanier, but for all the schools in the district. And so anybody who would like to donate to that can go to our website and give. In addition, we're doing a campaign for our student athletes. We don't want any student athlete to have to pay any fees this year. We know some of our families were negatively impacted with COVID, and some of our families are currently not working. And so we're asking the community to support or sponsor an athlete. Most times packets range anywhere between $125 and $150, but we're asking people to go to our website and just give from the heart, and just however they can give, it will go directly towards our student athletes.
Hey, why don't you shoot that? Why don't you shoot that to us so we can make sure not only they go to the website. I want to make it easy for people.
Okay.
Let's try to put it out there for them as well through Montgomery Public Schools. We'll put it out through the city website as well, so that we can do that for Lanier. And if any of the other schools are doing it, we can have, various schools, and we can just kind of have a rotation where we do some of this to try to highlight the various campaigns that are going on.
Yeah.
And if the schools that are listening to this want to let us know, then just shoot that to our External Affairs and Public Information Department, and we'll work with MPS to try to make sure that this is broadcast beyond just our Facebook and really gain the traction that is needed as well. That's real important.
Let's just focus on Lanier first, and I'll let the rest of the know how it goes. Send information out. We'll just do Lanier.
I don't blame you on that. I don't blame you on that. That's cool.
Yeah, JD's getting some work done over there. They're on national television, and so they're good. Park Crossing got the new building. Carvin had So I think we need to focus on Lanier first, and then we'll let the other principals know how it goes.
I like that. That's all right. Yes, sir. Great. Do we have any other questions? All right. I don't see that are coming through. Well, listen, I want to just conclude by thanking you guys for your leadership. Want to thank you for what you're doing, not only in your respective roles, but in the community as well. And we want to support you any way that we can. It's so important that we invest in our young people. It's so important that we invest in our schools and in our education. And I'm going to do everything that I can to amplify the positive things that are happening to assist our school system in a way that we haven't before. And I want to make sure that I'm a champion for the students, the parents, the teachers, the administrators. We don't have a city school system, but the city has a vested interest in everything that happens in our public schools. And we want to make sure that we don't allow any of the provincial matters to get in the way of this. Again, we know that we have an initiative coming up in November that's going to really chart the future of this school system. Go to www.educatemgm.com or go to the Facebook page, www.educatemgm. It's very important that we get engaged, certainly politically, where that's concerned from a community standpoint, and we get people to vote down ballot, to vote in support of the investment in our schools so we can get that ROI. And again, as I say about money and funds, Apple just became a $2 trillion company. Apple isn't giving any of that money back. That's larger than the GDP of most continents. So we think about resources and money. Let's think about, again, what we allocate to those schools, to our parents, and to our students as well. And let's support them any way we can. And gentlemen, any way that I can support you all going forward, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. If you get some feedback from some parents or from some teachers of some things that we can do, let us know. We want to be there for you. We want to be there for our educators throughout the system. So I thank you for all the work that you've been doing. I thank you for joining us here today as well.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And we hope that you'll tune in the next time and support JD, support Lanier, support Lee, support Carver, support all of our principals and band directors and coaches and teachers and administrators any way that you can. It's all needed. It all adds up from high school to middle school to elementary school. We've got to do everything we can. And I'm going to take some of these ideas back to the business community, back to the nonprofit community, and see if, again, we can strengthen some of the bonds and some of the ties that we have, and maybe bring back some of these programs that Dr. Williams and Mr. Howard were just mentioning to us. So again, I want to thank them again, and thank you all for joining us. Have a great Friday and have a great weekend, and we'll be talking with you real soon. Take care. God bless.